Yes, that's my book. And that's me. No, that's not me. This is me. Thank you. Here is the book. Publisher is Taylor & Francis. Let's keep going here. We're going to discuss some cinematic illusion, but first you've got to know the principle of thirds. You divide the frame into thirds. Now see this example? 1/3 with the bicyclist, 2/3 with the upper level. More examples. Here's divine proportion, we call it. We split the frame into 2/3 and 1/3. We never split the frame in half. It's a no-no. No. Here's an example. Here's this correct 2/3, 1/3 sky. Vertically, it's the same thing. 2/3 on the right of the frame, 1/3 on the left with the yellow bicycles. Next, we're going to take a visual adventure in my model village. We're still New York, and we're going to try and hold on to those principle of thirds while we do an actual frame. There's an exciting sound. There's our thirds. More examples. Now, we're going to take a quiet bird's eye view. It's an establishing shot, we call it, of our model village. This is the establishing shot. We notice it's in deep focus. Foreground, middle ground, and background are in focus. Now, are the objects in scale to each other? Is this space within my model town? And there are some of our objects we're going to experiment with. For instance, if we take our model car here, our fruit truck, placed in the foreground, in front of that car, it's out of scale, it's out of proportion. It doesn't fit into its surroundings, but now it does. Here's another example. Our little friend here is out of scale, certainly next to that large car. So we're going to pick him up and put him back where he belongs, in scale, in proportion to his surroundings. It's all an example of perspective, too. Objects get smaller as they move away from our frontal plane. Now, incidentally, foreground framing forces our eye into the spatial world that we've created beyond our frontal plane. Now, foreground, background, middle ground comprise your 3D illusion of space. Film is searching for space, deep space. Now, here's our cow friend. He's out of joint there, we put him on where he belongs. Now, here's our classic car, a Rolls. Most of our cars you see here are classics. We're putting him in the middle ground. Wrong. He goes back into the foreground where he belongs. He's in proper perspective and in proportion to the rest of the village behind him. This is typical Hollywood facades. Scale is, proportion is based on the principle of thirds. Here's one more example. The tower in the background, the gray tower above the hotel, it's kind of in proper perspective here. But again, if we pick it up, we move it to the foreground, completely out of scale, out of perspective, out of proportion. Objects and people must be in their proper placement, perspective. The French call it mise en scène. It's our scene that we've constructed for the viewer. Again, this foreground framing adds depth to your shots because the eye is thrown into the background from the foreground. Now, are these two figures in scale? No, especially this cop is not. We put him back where he belongs. Now, we're going to take a little helicopter tour of our village, showing you some of the placements that we have used. And we're going to say now goodbye from Hartsdale, my little Hollywood backlot, in deep focus. Thank you, Cinematic Illusions. Reimagining the basics. And I'm wishing you a good show, as English would say, and good shooting. Thank you.